gosh, that's a mess. Hello? How is everyone? Oh gosh. Yesterday. Oh, I can't even. We got there in the end though, didn't we? So Friday's video and yesterday's video are both on YouTube. I can't get the Instagram ones to have audio, so I'm sorry about that. But onwards and upwards. So we'll see what happens today. I've done all the things. I've updated. I've deleted my app. I've reinstalled it. My phone is not on silent. I don't have do not disturb on. So fingers crossed no one calls me. What else? I've literally tried everything. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. So today we're going to do the fishbone stitch and this big guy here. In the picture, I have it as this yellow. And it's the darker color that we used for the background petals in the sunflower. Now, if you think this is a bit too like yellow, orange, yellow again, then swap it for one of the greens and then you can make some of these green things down here yellow and make them look a little bit more like wheat or something. Just an idea I had when I was having a look at this and thinking, do I like that? Do I not like that? I might have to swap it for like a nice green or something to go right next to that pumpkin. Or this darker color green might be quite nice, and do the yellows for these little guys down here. So it's completely up to you what you would like to do. So yeah, I'm going to have a think about that. And you guys let me know too. What do you want to see on mine? Because maybe on mine can be like the sample. And then you guys can choose on your own if you like the green or the yellow. I just don't know. I feel like they would both look good. I'm leaning towards the green though. So I've got my practice tube here because there's two different ways you can do a fishbone stitch. And I want to show you both of them because some people love the first one and some people love the second one. But you don't know until you see them both. So we've got this guy over here. And I think I prefer the green too. I don't know why. I feel like the yellow is just a bit like too close to the orange. So even though it looks really nice in the drawing, I feel like I need to do the green, you know? But we'll see. Okay, so fishbone stitch is like this. The traditional fishbone stitch, I'll show you that in a drawing, and then I'll show you the two ways that I do it because I do it a little bit differently. The traditional one is like this. So you've got your leaves or leaves. And normally you've got a line down the middle like this. Okay. And you make a tiny little stitch at the beginning. I'll do it in a different color so you can see. So you can see what I mean. Veronica says, I think a green as I love the idea of a wheat. Yeah, me too. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to swap it. I think that's a good idea. Okay, so you do a tiny little stitch here. All right. Traditionally, you go from left to right or right to left. It really doesn't matter, whichever you're more comfortable with. And I keep saying traditionally because I do it a little bit different. You get the same look, but you don't use as much thread. So we're going to go left to right and then right to left. And you make X's on top of each other. So you want them to be about the same angle when you cross. Okay. So if one is like this, then all the other ones are going to be parallel to that. So you're not going to have any that are like this. All right. You want them to all kind of lay flat, almost like a satin stitch. Okay. So you're going to go left to right, all the way to the outside edge. Now I say traditional because this is not how I do it, but this is how you're supposed to do it. And then right to left. And you try and make these two angles about the same. Okay. And then you go left to right again with your next stitch. And then you go right to left with your next stitch all the way to the edge until what you end up getting is this really nice crisscross pattern down the middle. I know it looks a little bit weird right now because it just looks like a bunch of lines. Okay, but what you get here is this is a crisscross right down the middle, almost like a braid. Just like that. So all of this on this side is nice and smooth, and all of this on this side is nice and smooth. I know it looks a mess, okay? But this is how I do it. I do it a little bit differently. So the first one, good morning, Sarah. The first way you can do it is to have the crisscross from the tip all the way down to the tip. So you have your leaf shape, okay? I like to make a line down the middle and then a line just on either side. There we go. Hi, George. So then you do exactly the same, a little line, and then you cross just to that line. And then you cross just to that line. So what you end up with is the outside being really nice and lush, the middle crossing, but you're not wasting all that thread on the outside edges like that. Okay? This way will give you a crisscross, the fishbone stitch, all the way from the tip all the way down. Okay? So I'll stitch that in just a minute. The other way is to only have it start about here. And it can be as far up or as far down as you want to. Now, the top, we do like a 3/4 satin stitch, or almost, I like to say tuck it in, even though you don't tuck it in. You just make some of them not go down all the way. So you've got one down the middle, and then you've got one on either side that only go about to there. And then you got one down all the way through the same hole. And then maybe you have one more that only goes 3/4, and then you can start your crisscrossing. Okay, so let me stitch both of these up and then you can see what I mean by that. And I'm just going to use just random scraps that I've got over here. Not the blue though, because that's too dark and we can't see it. I know I could just do it on the actual one, but then they won't all be matching, will they? Yeah, so I like to show both ways because some people, I'm going to use all 6 strands for the sample, but for the actual hoop, I think maybe 3 or 4 if you like to have them a little bit thicker. Okay, so let's try this. So again, this is just a sample. Use 3 or 4 strands for your actual hoop. Okay, here we go. All right, so like I said, we've got our little one down the middle. I'm not going to show you the full one because I don't like doing it like that. But it's literally exactly the same, except you go all the way to the outside of the edge. Whereas mine, I like to go right to the line on each side. It just seems to keep me on track a little bit better. And yeah, I don't know, it just works for me. So what we're going to do is pay attention to the outside curve. And where you put your needle up on the outside curve, because we're not outlining this. So if you kind of see that you've got a couple that are out of place or a little bit wonky, then you can always add an outline later if you really want to, but it wasn't necessarily in the plan. Now, the other question I always get is that when you do the second one, people never know where to put it. Like, do I put it down here? Do I put it over here? Like, where do I put it? And what I like to say is put your needle straight across like this, and that's where you need to put it. Okay? And then from there, you're just going to copy copy these lines, almost like a satin stitch that's on an angle. And the other thing I like to say is you can always lay your thread across like this, and you can figure out how far down to put your next stitch. So obviously if I put it here, I'm going to actually miss out and have some fabric showing. So you want it to be up close, but obviously not in the same hole, or you're going to cover up what you've just done, you know? So you kind of want it to just lay right next to it. Okay, and then we continue crisscross. So let me just, I made these leaves pretty big. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, then we just crisscross. Now, obviously there's lots of different ways to do it. The traditional way is to go all the way to the edge. I like doing this way. I feel like it saves thread. I like that I can put all my stitches straight in a line on each side. So like I know where they need to go. Is there a knot back here? I can feel it. And the only thing you need to remember is just where are you coming from? Oh, I didn't make a knot. That's why I like to make a knot. Because otherwise it gets stuck in other things. I could feel something back there and I was like, I don't know what that is. Okay, so we keep going. Crisscross. And what you're going to end up with is almost like a French braid, like down the middle, and it's going to be crisscrossed all the way down. Now, if you use a darker color, you're not going to be able to see this crisscross as much. So just have a think about that when you're picking your colors. I know we said we were going to change from like the wheat color to a green. So just keep that in mind. If you use this really, really dark green color, like we used for the detached chain stitch, like the fronds, then you're not going to be able to see the details as much. So I tend to not do a lot of stitches with lots of details with darker colors, because the fact of the matter is you're just not going to be able to see it. So we just keep going, keep going. I am going to finish this one though, because once you get so far, you're going to have to fill up each side with some regular straight stitches or satin stitches. I know I'm going to run out of thread before. And that's the only bad part about this stitch, is that it does use quite a bit of thread. And it takes longer than if you were to just satin stitch it. But if you satin stitch it, you won't get this nice crisscross effect right down the middle like that. So like people always say, what's your favorite stitch? Or what stitch should I use here? And I'm always like, I can't really tell you that, because there's lots of things you could use or you can use, but it depends on how you want it to look. Do you want it to be smooth? Do you want it to have a texture? Do you want to see a certain pattern? Do you want it, like, there's so many things that you could, do. So it just depends on what you like. Didn't win that, did I? Okay, let's just do a little knot and then... Whew. I do like the back of it though, because off to the dentist, catch up later. Good luck. I know it's your son, but still, good luck. Where is the yellow that I just had? Oh, here it is. Over here. So on the back, it looks like this. Because remember, we crisscrossed in the middle, so actually you don't have any stitches down the center. I always think it looks really nice. I don't know why. Jessie, really? I'm like so close to the table right now. Oh, gosh. I'm like squeezed up against it because she's laying right behind me. She decided to come stitch with us today, didn't she? Okay, so we're just going to do the bottom of this one so I can show you, because you can already tell I'm running out of space here. Yeah? So we've done this one last. So we need to do this one first. Because remember, we're trying to get that crisscross. So you got to keep the crisscross. Okay, so this is about where you almost have it finished, but you're running out of space, okay? So, I mean, I can't really do many more crisscrosses because the end of the leaf is here. So, what we do for that, we do the crisscrosses until we're done. Crisscrosses is a technical term, okay? We do the fishbone stitch until we're finished. I could finish there, but I can still see some of the little edges, and the bottom here isn't as round as the top up here. So what we do is we just make our stitches a little bit shorter to follow the shape of the leaf. Okay? And you can just poke them. Of course, I've got another knot. Guys, knots happen, okay? They just do. They just do. There's nothing you can do to stop it other than stitch slower. Okay? So I put them right down at the tip. This one a little bit shorter. Right down at the tip. And then you can continue doing that until you are happy with the shape. So that's I feel like that's a good shape, okay? So that's it for me, for that. This is the tip to tip fishbone stitch. So this one here is going to have the fan effect at the top. Yeah, for a time, let's just go straight over. And again, I'm using all 6 strands. So it's going to look a little bit different with 3 or 4 strands because it's going to look a little bit more delicate and you're going to have more crisscrossing. So we're going to go straight up here. Like I said, we've got 1 down the middle, just like that. And then the next ones, I like to do either side because 1, it keeps the fishbone stitch look, okay? It keeps you on track for if you have to go left first or right first, or where did you leave off. So yeah, so the next one, you're only gonna go 3/4 of the way down. So you're not gonna go in the same hole. You're just gonna go 3/4 of the way down. Or 3/5 or whatever you want to keep it in your head as. I always call it like the 3/4 satin stitch or the fanned satin stitch because it looks like a fan at the top. Okay? Now the next ones, you're going to go through the same hole as the first one. So again, keeping that nice leaf shape. You want to make them close together, but not like super overlapping. Okay? Same hole. Because remember, we're mirroring the right and the left crisscross, okay? So you can still see, because we did the guidelines here, that there's way more space on the top up here than there is at the bottom down here. And that's always a good sign when you do the fanned satin stitch, that you're gonna have to tuck some in, okay? I say tuck them in, but I don't know why I always think of it like that, but you're going to have to put in more of those 3/4 stitches because you need to fill in the space up here, but not fill in the space down here, okay? So think of it as like a triangle, like if you have a triangle like this, yeah? You have a lot of space up here, but not so much space down here. So you want to try and make your stitches up around here so that you can save your space and it doesn't make a big hump or a bump down here. So that's why you do 1 here and then kind of tuck some in, 3/4 stitches, you know, until you can fill up the whole space. I hope that's making sense. Just let me know if you're like, we don't get it. You're talking rubbish again. And this is another one where on your leaf, you might only need to tuck 1 or 2. It depends on what they look like. And have a think about this too, because these leaves are more kind of thick or wide, full in the middle, whereas the ones we're going to do are more slim and long. So that's going to have a bit of a different effect as well. So now these will go back in the same hole or just below. Looks like I made it a little too far away, but let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Yeah, because you can see the space there. Good morning, Mel. Okay, so now we're in a situation where we can start to crisscross. So, guys, I get too excited about this stuff. I really do. Okay, so now you're going to follow the angle of all of these other threads that you've just done. Okay, so maybe if you do the guidelines and they don't line up particularly like perfect, I like to do the ones on the top and then from there figure out where my line is going to be. So do the guidelines at the top and then you can kind of see how that looks. You can tell already this is going to look so different. I keep making these ones really close together. I don't mean to, but I'm doing it. Space them out a bit. You want to see the crisscross. Good morning. Good morning. Again, not gonna win, but we already know how to finish it because we did it over here. Oh, Jessie. Can you scoot over a little bit? Gosh, girlfriend. She's like leaning on my back legs, like on my heels. Okay, so you've got the fan at the top and the crisscross down the middle. Okay? So it depends on which one you like, which one you want to do. So let's swap over, because obviously this is the same. You do the exact same thing on the bottom here that you do on the bottom here. Yeah? So let's swap over hoops. We'll get a nice green out, because I've changed the color, remember? Oh. Let me just pull her rug over a little bit. You're very cute there, but you're very close to me. Sorry, but you are. She's like, how dare you? How dare you move me? Gosh, Jessie. She's killing me, man. It's like a puzzle, you know? Trying to fit my legs in here. I just want to stand. Gosh, okay, here we go. So I think I'm going to do this green here and then use the golden color. Oh, sorry. She's throwing a fit now. Use the golden color for these little guys here. So maybe it will look a little bit like wheat. I think that will be a really nice effect. I know before I had it like the other way. I had it where the yellow was at the top and for this plant, and then I had the greens down here, but I think it looks better swapped. Okay, you can use any of these greens. I wouldn't use the darkest one because we've already used the darkest one here, and you want to mix it up a little bit. And you're not going to see the crisscross fishbone stitch if you use the darker one. So any of these greens would be fine. I think what I've done is on the very bottom here, I've got this one, like that. So you could use even this one here that we did the outline. We did the outline. Well, you did the outline because I only did one. We did the outline here for it. So you could use this one over here as well to kind of like brighten it up on that side, you know? Maybe I'll do that actually. Have it dark on the bottom. Yeah, that's nice. I'm going to do that. I keep coming back to this one though, because it's so nice next to the, I'm gonna do this one. Okay, let's try 4 strands. I reckon 3 is gonna be the ticket, but let's just try. Here's 3. I'm gonna do 4. I quite like 4 strands. It makes it a little bit chunky. And I like seeing that chunk in there, you know? Thank you for moving. She's really mad at us because it's rained like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in the morning. So David hasn't taken her out because it's raining, and she does not like the rain anyways. And she's like, I didn't get a walk. She's on strike. We got up this morning and she just sat in front of me and stared at me. And I was like, it's still raining. We can't go out. And she's like, I don't care. All right. I'm just doing a knot at the end. I know you can't see it, but there we go. So it's up to you which one you choose. I know I always say that. It's totally up to you. It's totally up to you. But it genuinely is, because some people will like this way and some people will like this way. So I'm going to do mine this way. I really like the look of it. I feel like they look a little bit classy with the fan at the top. It's like nice and smooth. But if you like this way, that's fine. That's totally fine. So yeah, let's do our little guidelines and get started. I know I've done like 30 minutes of telling you how to do it, but then actually not doing it. So you can do them as far up as you want to. This is the middle line. Whoop, that's a bit, it's totally up to you. I need to get a bag that says that, you know. I have the extra, some extra things, we'll just say that, from the advent calendars. And I keep going back and forth whether I want to put them in the shop or not, because I don't necessarily want the people who got the advent calendars to know what it is if they want to keep it a secret. But I've already showed it, so I kind of, again, these don't have to be perfect, okay? These are not like parallel lines or anything like that. We're just making the guidelines so that we know kind of like where to put it. Could I just go all the way to the edge? Yes. Am I going to do that? No. I'm going to keep it like that. All right. So let's get started. Now I've got 4 strands. We'll see. We'll see how this looks. I feel like it's going to be good, but we'll just see. So these are the 3/4 stitches, remember? I'm just trying to go right next to where we did that orange outline. Now she's banging on the bathroom door. That's where her leash is. These ones are back down the middle. Can you guys see that all right? Back down the same hole. Okay, so top is all filled, and now we're going to go for our crisscross for the actual fishbone stitch. Now in the beginning it does look a little bit wonky because it's like, whoa. I'm just going to go all the way to the edge because these ones are quite thin. Daily reminder, drink some water if you haven't yet. Sometimes I put lemon in mine to jazz it up a little bit. Do your physio. Actually, this was probably the wrong color because you can't even see the crisscross that much. So, joke's on me. So, learn from my mistake. Don't use color 217. Unless you don't mind not being able to see it very much. Oh, what a mistake. I even told y'all don't do it. Oh, what a disappointment. Guys, that doesn't look very nice, does it? I guess you can see it a little bit. What do you think? Should I abandon it and go for the lighter color so you can see a little bit more, or just say, screw it, let's do it and continue? Oh, gosh. What to do here? Whilst I'm deciding, this stem situation is just the same as here, okay? So you can do the long, like the one stitch back stitch, so from tip to tip, so from here to here, then from here to here, one stitch, and from here to here, you can do it like that. You can do a nice stem stitch if you want. Totally up to you, whatever you feel like floats your boat for that. I'm always a fan of the one stitch point to point, because I just feel like it looks nice. I was trying to think of like what the word I was going to say. Veronica says, could you do the other one at the bottom dark and then the rest lighter? Ooh, I could. We could do like these 4 down here, the dark color, and like these 5 up here, the light color. We could do that. It would have looked better if I would have started with the darkest color though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could do 4, 4, and 1. Maybe I'll try that actually. Let's just see. Let's just keep going. Maybe try one the other color and then decide. Why are you guys telling me all the tips and tricks that I've told you back to me? Try one of each color. It's totally fine. It's not a big deal. I'm going to go for the ombre look, actually. I'm just going to go for it. Because we have, because we have four colors of green. And if you look at them all together, they're almost the same tone of green, just a little bit. They just get darker and darker and darker. Okay, so you totally could do 2 darkest, 2 second darkest, then the middle color, and then the lightest one for a little tip. You could totally do that. I think I'm going to do it like this. That will look really nice. I planned that the whole time. You know I did not. Oh, golly jeepers. And then after this one, let's start the crisscross. Okay, so I love to lay my thread like this. It gives such a good idea of where you actually need to put your stitch. And for this one, I am going to go just right to the line. And you can decide what works best for you. Some people love the traditional way where you go just straight over to the outside edge, and that works for them. Try it a couple different ways. I like to have a practice hoop, because then you can practice. You know, you can try and figure out which one you like better, and not feel that pressure to like get it perfect on your actual hoop, because sometimes when you try something new on your actual hoop and it doesn't go exactly how you wanted, you just feel disappointment, and you just feel like, oh, I've ruined it, or like, oh, that didn't work out. And you start to feel a little bit negative about it. And sometimes that's all you need to just stop a project altogether, or decide, actually, this isn't for me. When really, you just need to practice it. Like, I've taught a lot of people embroidery. And most of the time people can get it, you know, because I feel like I explain it in a way that's quite clear. But sometimes you just look at it and you're like, I don't know how they got that from how I explained it. But it's not often, you know, and sometimes it's just you need to practice it because you need to figure out which way works for you. And it might not be the way I teach it. It might not be the way that I do it. So always keep that in mind. Like, if the first way doesn't work, don't just give up. Don't throw in the towel. Just try it one of the other ways. I think this stitch is too far out, but I'm going to do it anyways. I could do without the knots. Do you know what I mean? Or how nice is that? Okay, I actually quite like it. So I said, what did I say? 4, and then 4, and then 1 at the very end, didn't I? Or should I do 2, just these 2, and then these 4, and then these 3? Probably like that, eh? Yeah, so 2 darkest, 4 middle color, then 3 at the very tip. So I'm going to go ahead and do the stem in this color. And it looks like I need to connect this because I didn't actually make it very nice. Okay. I mean, you guys know I won't finish this today, like in this session, but at least you'll see what it will look like, you know? I did 4 strands. So the first color I did was 217. The second one I've got is 215. And the last one is 213. Come on. Actually, got my first COVID shot yesterday. And my arm is killing me. Oh, goodness. I'm quite warm. Maybe I have a fever. I'm going to drink a lot of water today. But at least all the videos got onto YouTube, so that's good. And they had sound, so there's that. If this one saves with no sound, I'm going to download it as soon as possible and put it on YouTube as soon as possible. And I'll put the link in my stories again. I really don't know why that's happening. And it's driving me insane trying to think of why, you know, why does it work for some people, but it doesn't work for other people? Or why, whoa, too severe. Do you see that? Now, would it work? Technically, it probably could work. Okay? But I don't like that because it cuts off all of the stitches that you've just done. And it like, what was the point of putting all those stitches in the top if it isn't going to be like smooth up there? You know? So, yeah, it might be quite a severe angle. Like this one is it's still overlapping, but not so much. So that works in my eyes. I also think a lot of embroideries, what can you live with, you know? You can get nitpicky all day about the color you picked or the stitch you used or whatever, but it's like, what can you live with? I think it's an issue I have since updated my operating system. See, that's interesting because before I updated, that's when the issue happened. And then I updated it, and then all of a sudden, I didn't have sound on my phone still, but I could upload the video that I downloaded. Whereas before, YouTube just kept saying that there's an error in the video and it's unable to even start the upload. So that's why I was like, oh my gosh, this is a big problem. But also, like, I love doing these stitch-alongs so much, like I can't even think about not doing them. Like, I was talking to David yesterday and I was like almost in tears, like thinking I'm going to have to stop doing the stitch-alongs or like try and move them to like a Patreon or like go to Facebook or something. I just don't like Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook fan, you know? But yeah, I was just like, I don't want to not do them anymore. I just love doing them when I do them. Like, this works because then you can have it, you know, you can still chat to people live, you can ask questions, which I feel is really important because sometimes we just talk about crap, you know what I mean, the whole time. But I like that you guys have the opportunity to ask a question whilst I'm doing the stitch if you don't understand it. And for the people who don't come to the live videos, I know it's hard because it's a different time, you know? Like, the time zone is not ideal for people in America. But and like the pre-recorded videos, I've tried doing pre-recorded videos and oh my gosh, it's so boring. I've done them a couple times for like kits and stuff when you get like a private video to watch, and oh, they're so painful to film because you're just like, this is how you do the stitch, and then you like have to finish the stitch and it's just like quite quiet and it's just like, oh, I think I didn't go far enough on that one. I'll do it on the next one. But yeah, I'm hoping I can finish the next stitch along by today. I told you guys yesterday that it's a fireplace one. I think it's going to be so cute. I just have to add all the little details and stuff, you know what I mean, to make sure that it's not all satin stitch, because honestly, I cannot do a stitch along with all satin stitch. I have to do a bunch of different stitches. I just have to. It's fun. It's more fun to teach. It's more fun to stitch, you know? If it was like an in-person workshop and we could just do satin stitch all day and like just sit and chat and chill, then that's just lovely. But yeah. Just have to make sure that the stitches work out. And like, I don't mind repeating stitches. It's not about that. But I like to make sure there's a good mix, like of maybe a new stitch that we haven't learned yet, or maybe a new way of using an old stitch, or, you know. I'm not interesting enough for you to go 3 weeks and just learn satin stitch. Like, I can't keep the chat up. Oh, honesty box. Gosh. And the code is on as well for my birthday. It's still there for my Etsy shop. It's one more stitch. You can get 15% off any of the past stitch-alongs or patterns. And if you want to, you can save it for the next stitch-along. If you've already used it, then that's fine. Just use it again. It's okay. It's only 15%, but come on. There we go. I'm almost finished. 45 minutes. Gosh. It does take longer to practice the stitch first and show both ways. But I like to do it both ways because I feel like I said, people like it one way or the other. So you either like it this way or you like it that way. Or you like it both and you can mix it up. There's no rule. You like what you like. But sometimes, hey, the 15% makes a difference. Thank you for the discount. You are so welcome. I should really set up the badges like Natalie said. Because then for people who maybe don't want to do the pattern, they can throw $1 or something, you know? My way. I really should set that up. But gosh, if it isn't one thing, that it's something else. You know what I mean? So I'm planning for the next stitch along to start like a week or two after this one finishes. But I just have to check the calendar and make sure, because I know people get really busy in December. So it depends if you guys want like a week project stitch along type situation in December, because that was the other plan, was to do the next stitch along in November and kind of end it at the end of November. And then in December, do like a week or maybe 2 weeks, like 10 days, but we'll do like a project stitch along. It'll probably be a week where we make like a project, like a felt ornament or a stocking or something like that, you know, like something that doesn't stay in the hoop. It'll be something for your tree. So yeah, I feel like that could be fun. But okay, so this is where we got up to today. I'm going to end it there because you kind of get the idea. So the very last color I will use for the last 3 at the top is 213. The one below it, the middle color, is 215. And the darkest color is 217. Okay, so they're all in the same color family. You can tell because it's 212, 215, 217. There are some colors in between these colors, but they're a big enough difference to where you can actually see that they're darker / lighter as you go up. So I think that'll look really pretty. I really need to finish all the rest of this before tomorrow so you can get an idea of what we've actually done, you know? So yeah, that's it. That's what we did. Fishbone stitch, 4 strands. Everyone cross your fingers that this video saves with sound in all the places. If there's no sound, don't stress out. I'll put it on YouTube as soon as possible and post the link in my stories so that you guys can at least go there and watch it if you need to rewatch it. I'm so sorry about, I don't know what's the issue. I cannot figure it out, and that's what's driving me crazy the most, is that normally I'm okay with this kind of stuff, you know? I can figure it out, I can sort it out, but this is just baffling me. So yeah, be sure to tag me at the Barmy Fox, tag Anchor Crafting at Anchor Crafting, and use the hashtag the Barmy Fox SAL, Anchor Crafts, Anchor Crafting, and Anchor Threads, because we are using Anchor Threads. So enjoy your Tuesday. Fingers crossed, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.